Welcome to Rooster Radio, a broadcast dedicated to supporting and promoting local artists in the Gaston County and surrounding areas.
No, I guess it was about 2:30 last night, 2 the night before, and then I was thinking about going. True Lilith is playing tonight, so I was thinking about going to see him then, but I'm starting to lean with probably need to just chill, go back to work tomorrow morning.
We got 4 bands tonight.
Yeah.
How many?
4.
Damn.
Yeah.
Who else playing?
It's Evil Leaf, Skull Servant, Lurch, and
Grave Next Door.
Grave Next Door.
Okay,
It's
so like sludge metal,
yeah.
doom metal
Yeah,
stuff.
doom metal.
Gotcha.
Doomfest, is that what
Yeah.
it's called?
A Night of Doom is what
A
it
Night
is.
of Doom.
How was Headbangers Ball?
It was awesome.
There was a lot of the people that were at the milestone on Friday were going to be here last night.
Yeah.
So I was like, you don't want to see the Killers?
Yeah, well,
Very
like I said,
different
when I
scenes,
saw
though.
when
It
I
was
saw
like-
when I saw the show announcement, I was jealous. I was like, "Fuck, what a great idea, man!"
Yeah. That's
like that.
fantastic.
Now I can't do it. Like,
Oh, we've
Right?
been that. This is my 5th year doing it there.
Yeah.
I did Pumpkins, and then Placebo, and then Deftones, and then Weezer, and then the Shredded Killers.
Dude, I have been trying to find a Deftones tribute. It's my wife's favorite band. I mean, they're one of my favorites, but it's my wife's favorite. Like, she's got like a whole Deftones half sleeve going.
I mean, we'll do it. I can.
All right, we'll talk about that after.
We did like a 25-minute, set, primarily around the fur stuff. But
Oh man, that's in my opinion, that's their best album.
around the fur and Adrenaline.
Adrenaline's great too.
So when White Pony came out, I was so pissed off because Deftones was like my favorite band, and the White Pony came out, and it was so different from what I had loved. And I was like, fuck this band. And I went like 12 years without listening to them at all. Because I was
kidding,
like,
man? You couldn't get with fucking RX Queen
I
and Knife
refused
Party.
to.
Like, God,
That was
so
the thing.
good.
I refused to just because it was different. I was like, fuck this.
We've actually talked about this before on the show about how like your taste can change over time and how like you get kind of stuck into this is what I like thing
Yeah.
and everything. And it's kind of like an older generation thing. Like the kids today don't seem to be that way. I
They're all listening to the 90s.
I get annoyed with people that like, oh well, this is the best type of like shut up.
Right.
Like that's what you like. Yeah,
For sure.
what- yeah.
And I've always been a fan of like bands that are pretty solidly like with their reputation and stuff like that. They've been doing what the fans want in their music and their rock or whatever their style is, and then they come out with kind of like an experimental album or something like that, or something that's a little different or way different than what they used to be. It's like fucking let them,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Let them try their shit.
That's how you
And now,
grow.
so
Yeah.
a few years ago, I went back and now I like a lot. Like, I mean, the last two I'm not as big on, just because it's kind of like the same sound
I
for a
didn't
while,
really
but I
like
still
Gore
really
that
like.
much. I didn't like Gore. Ohms is good. But Gore, I was.
Yeah, it's
care much.
okay.
But
Diamond Eyes is awesome.
yeah,
I love White Pony now, which is hilarious because White Pony was the album that turned me off the Deftones, and now I'm like, this album bangs. Like,
they're such a great band.
they really are.
But we're not really here to talk about Deftones. We're here to talk about Aaron Lawrence and My Blue Hope.
Oh yeah.
Say introduce yourself to the audience if you.
So I guess that's my camera.
Yeah.
I'm Aaron Lawrence, the front man, creative behind a music group called My Blue Hope. I started out as a solo project, and eventually just got to a point where I needed a bigger sound than what I could do myself. And so now I've been operating as both. I do a solo thing and I do it with the full band. And I've been doing that now for about 4 years.
So for the last 4 years now, before My Blue Hope, what'd you have going? Kind of how'd you get started in the Charlotte scene?
I was married. Before My Blue Hope, I was married. So actually, the name My Blue Hope originated in '99. Me and a buddy of mine started writing songs together, and that never went anywhere. Obviously, I got married in 2000, and I never stopped writing, and I always wanted to perform, and so everything that I wrote, it all stemmed back from the idea. I didn't like the idea of having my name on merch. Like, that's all it was I did not like the idea of selling Aaron Lawrence t-shirts. So from the time I was a teenager, I was like, nope, it's going to be a band name. And so My Blue Hope is kind of what it started out. Actually, it was me and my buddy both played Strats, and they were both blue. And I called mine Blue, and he called his Hope. And one day they were sitting on the ground next to each other, and I was like, My Blue Hope. I was like, there's the band name.
Huh.
And then I ran with it.
Never
And
would've
it
guessed.
suits because my music's pretty like sad, but has like
I mean, you got a little
pretty,
bit of bluesy element to it.
right? And so it's like it kind of, in some ways, it was like it just kind of matched it, and so I just stuck with the name, and
And so marriage, you divorce, whatnot, and you decide I'm just going to jump into the music scene.
basically, it was I
My
had
chance kind of.
so there was a few years, probably about a decade ago, where I did start doing solo stuff. Back, like I used to play with dollar signs back when they were a two-piece.
Okay.
So years and years ago. And so I was in the scene as a solo act for a couple of years then. And I put out an EP that I did all myself. And that kind of, just nothing happened with it. Again, not really getting a lot of support from the whole, like, the family situation. So I just bowed out.
I'll tell you right now, you try to do anything creative or anything, outside the lines, don't ever expect your friends or family to support it. I tell you that right now.
Yeah.
They're like, it just, I don't know. In my experience, the people that, outside of my wife and, kids and stuff, but like outside of your immediate family, it's I don't know. I don't want to be negative.
Right. No. Well, unfortunately, mine was
a lot of my
family.
friends aren't really my friends, if you know what I'm saying.
There is,
which is odd because anytime somebody that I know like goes out on a limb and do something, I'm like the first in line. Let me support this. It's I don't know. It's a mentality. I don't
it really
know
is.
why that is, but since having done this and meeting other creatives and other people that are doing different things, seems to be across the board. It's like that. Like it's not just my friends; it's everybody's friends and extended family that just don't seem to support what they're doing.
Right.
At least in this town.
It's
in this
beautiful
area.
when you step out and do what you want, what you're thinking about doing or whatever, and then that community kind of forms
around you.
Yeah.
Right, it does.
Then
It
you
shifts.
find your biggest cheerleaders.
Well, you find your people. You find your tribe for if you want to go there with it.
Yeah.
But, you find the people and if we do it well enough, we can create the culture.
The tribe gets bigger.
So we can keep growing it. I for one am seeing growth. It's growing at a snail's pace. It's like government bureaucracy trying to get things done, but it's happening. Little by little. Each week, one more person, two more people.
A new face.
New faces, and with the music thing, one of the things that most artists have I've heard talk about or we've shared is that at some point you make a decision that you're not doing this for money. You're not doing this. You're doing this because you have to or you want to or it's your passion. Right. Yeah. And when you get into that headspace and it's not about money or fame, you're just doing this thing that you want to share with the world. I think like that's when the real creative shit can open up.
Right, for sure. Yeah, at 42, the rock star dream's kind of like, I don't know. Probably not going to happen.
Well, I mean, even still, like, we talked about this recently on the show with somebody about, like, do you really want fame? Like, do you want that life? Do you want to always be under, and especially now, like, you're 42, I'm 44. When we were younger, you didn't have to worry about everything you say and do being recorded and,
dumb shit you do.
The wrong meme.
Yeah. You can't, so like, I would love it if we could just find that space where we can fly under the radar and just make just enough money to stay open, pay the bills, pay the people, bands make money, everybody's happy, and I don't want all kinds of attention. What happens if the next election comes along and we host a show with somebody who said something 10 years ago that, like, who knows? Like you just don't know. Like, we could put somebody on our stage and find out, a week later that, they diddled a kid or something. It's like, shit, we didn't know that. it's
And now you're dragging into it.
now it's
Then you end up
associated
putting
with
on a child pageantry show to convince everyone.
Yeah.
those things make me sick, dude.
Dude.
That whole culture makes me sick.
Do you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I haven't in a while, but I did. I've seen every episode.
There's that whole episode where
Yeah.
they do that to prove that they're.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty. I mean, what's the right adjective to describe how I feel about it? It's sickening. Like
It's very
putting all that-
inappropriate. Like
Inappropriate.
they're
That's a good.
children.
That's
It's-
it.
Right,
Yes.
and it's like the parents that are like, "Hey, this is a good
yeah,
idea."
you're sexualizing children
It's
is
just
what you're
it's
doing.
disturbing, like especially like when you see them like, okay, the mom, make it sexy. But
Yeah.
the natural pageants where they just put on a dress and you out there in your natural face and they don't do anything extra, those are okay. But all the extras where they got to put in the fake teeth, the fake hair pieces, they're wearing more makeup than their mothers. No.
Right. My kids were when they loved watching toddlers and tiaras,
Oh,
and
no.
just because
It's
was
a
like,
train wreck.
It was a train wreck. You're just watching a train wreck. It's like, wow, I can't believe this is.
Yeah.
Well, the part that made, I mean, all of that's true, but the part for me that really kind of turns my stomach is the parents. Like these
parents, yeah.
parents are mentally ill.
They
Like these
really
moms are fucking mentally ill.
Right.
Like to put that on a child, put that kind of pressure, to put that kind of like you're teaching your kid at a very young age that the only thing that makes you worth anything is beauty and pageantry.
Beauty
I
and
don't
sex
like,
appeal and yeah.
Well,
don't
and
like
that's
any dog
bleeding
and pony
over now
show.
into like TikTok. I mean, there's so
Yeah.
many parents that are putting their little kids on channels, like singing channels, where it's like,
I mean,
Stop
when my
putting your
daughter
kids out
first
there.
started,
Yeah.
like when my daughter's had some sort of like a tablet or something since she was 5 or 6 years old, and even when she's wanted to do her own YouTube channel, we set her up a YouTube Kids thing. We would not allow her to put any images or video of herself on that channel, and and she has learned how to navigate the internet responsibly at now 13 years old.
Well, that's what we made sure that if there was a recording, we never said our kid's name in the recording because my kid had a unique name, and I was
and
like,
that makes it easier.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
find it. Yeah.
I mean, there's a way to navigate this climate and culture that we're in responsibly.
Right.
Most people don't do it.
yeah,
That's the problem.
yeah, they're just like, hi, I'm so and so, and my address is.
YOLO. Yeah.
Yeah. But nah, I mean it's just anything that's like a dog and pony show. I get turned off. It's the same thing with like cable news. Like I can't deal with that shit. It's all pageantry. It's all
Yes, it absolutely is.
politics, all of it. Like we're heading into a political season, and I have done such a good job of weeding out all of the political shit from my algorithms on socials, and it doesn't matter because they're showing right back up because of the time the season. And it's
And then you got everything that's going on now. Like everyone has an opinion, and so
And their opinion's right.
and
would
every
think-
opinion is
I
right,
would
and
think-
everybody else in the world is entitled to hearing it. So it's
I mean, here's the soundbite for it. I would think that after 2016 to 2020, that people would be like exhausted from like the vitriol of political argument. I would think that like, are we over this yet? Like, have we not learned that none of this works? Like screaming at each other. Have we not learned to like? But I guess not because it still finds its way into
You know
your
why? Because
face.
people like to argue.
That's true.
I mean, I
like to
guess.
argue.
I don't like to argue.
I don't either,
Yeah, I don't like
but-
to. I don't
I
like.
used to when I was younger. I did.
Yeah.
Oh, I got real wrapped up in this shit for a long time, like
Yeah.
the political stuff, and just love to debate and love to argue people. But then, like,
Well, debate's fine, but no
Well,
one wants to do
yeah,
that.
Yeah,
when-
because debate is respecting both sides.
Well, not if you're. Not
exactly.
if you have fun with it.
it's when it gets heated and people start getting offended and
They
stuff
take
like
it
that.
personally.
And they take it personally when you're just talking about a subject or.
Yeah, well, it's identity politics, right? Like an attack on on someone's perspective is an attack on them
On
as a
them
person.
themselves, right.
People can't separate themselves from that. It's just like with music. Like that you're not everyone's cup of tea,
Right.
So like you have to be willing to take those punches, or let that shit roll off your chest. When somebody has something bad to say. Now my thing is, I don't ever give bad reviews, right? Like I use TripAdvisor, like because my wife and I travel. We like that community. Like, there's not a lot of shitheads like there are on Yelp that just like to go on and dog places and put them down. So every now and then I'll post, but I never like go on there and just blast off on somebody because that doesn't feel good.
Well,
but when I have a good experience, I'll go in there and talk about how this was awesome.
It's like if something is negative, then just leave it alone. Like,
well, here's the thing.
Why take the time to make that? I'll just be like, I didn't have a good time, and then I'm not gonna leave
it might
a
not
review.
be your cup of tea. You might have had it. Maybe they were having a bad day.
Yeah.
Maybe But at the end of the day, what you're doing is someone's pouring their heart and soul into something,
Right?
And there's a
you're
practical,
shitting on it.
There's a practical, nice way to do it that's going to progress things, right? So you can get on there and be like, I love this, this, and this. This was a little rough, could use a little work, but this and this was great. Like you can get on there and give a review without shitting the place, and also, but also still addressing.
Because I think about the business owner. Like that's where when I see people like blast off on a business or some. And sometimes they're right. Sometimes someone needs to be called up. Like these jackasses that won't make wedding cakes for gay couples. Like, fuck those places. I would like to know about that so that I don't go give them my money. Like, I don't want to support racists, or sexist or whatever, businesses.
Assholes.
Yeah. I don't want to give my money to assholes. So I could see where you might have an argument there, but like because you didn't get a hot enough baked potato, or your steak was overcooked, or maybe the server was rude to you. Maybe you were being an asshole. Like just.
That's after working customer service and retail for a long time. It's like, okay, so how are you acting in this situation? How did you?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like when you're. It's like,
right.
It's like when your kid gets in trouble at school. Like my first question is, well, what did they do to her? Like. Before I,
what was the cause and effect?
What started this?
I know my kid. It's their fault.
Like you really had to push them to get them to say that. Yeah.
Have you got youngins?
I have 4 of them.
4?
Yeah, they range from 12 to 22.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were a young dad like me.
Yep. Yeah, we started. I was 20 when we had the first one, and ended at 30.
Yeah, and are any of them into music? Are you teaching any of them?
No, not really. Like they all love music, but none of them play or anything. But it's funny, like being in the scene is the scene now is a lot of younger people, and so like I'm actually like hanging out with people who are like my kids' age because they're on the scene, and like I brought my 18-year-old daughter last night to our show, and but a lot of the bands, it's funny when I hear my kids talk about like what they were raised listening to is like they were kids that were raised on emo, and it's funny because it's like I know all these people that are like emo kids, and then my kids literally were because they're like 4 and 5 and singing "Na Na 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 Na" by MCR in the backseat. Like it's.
I never really did like the emo didn't really resonate with me. Like AFI was like the most emo band.
You didn't have the emo haircut.
No,
a lot of it. No. So
I was a young dad when that shit was coming around. Like I was so like I actually had this like chunk of time where I didn't have the time to like be into. I was so I had a. I don't want to tell too much of my story there, but I didn't have the free time to invest in like I was still listening to 90s shit in like the early 2000s just cause I still had like the big CD case with like a couple hundred CDs in it, and that's how I was listening to music when the emo thing was catching on. And the one band that caught my attention was AFI. They put out an album called Sing the Sorrow that's just fucking incredible from start to finish. And because of that I gave bands like MCR and Panic at the Disco a chance, which Panic at the Disco, like they were emo for like 10 minutes, and then he turned into a pop star. But
well, that's because they stopped being a band.
He was writing everything anyway, but yeah, he
wasn't the songwriter though. That was the first 2 albums. It was the guitarist was the was the songwriter. Okay. And Brendan was just singing his lyrics, and that's why after Pretty Odd, there's a big change in the.
Have you ever seen him live?
No, I've never seen
So
it.
my daughters are really into Panic at the Disco. My wife even too, and I like them. I've seen them a couple times. But I took my stepdaughter to see Panic at the Disco with Weezer. This is when she was in high school. And my wife and I were like, well, yeah, we'll go see Weezer.
Yeah,
Right.
And she wanted to see Panic. So we let her bring a friend. So we go, and Panic goes on first. And my wife and I were blown away. We were like, holy shit.
He's got an amazing voice.
His amazing
He really
voice,
does.
amazing stage presence. A lot going on stage, choreographed stuff. I mean, dude was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so that was great. And then Weezer come out, and they just kind of stood there, like it was definitely one of those times where like the opener just blew the
Right.
headliner out of the water. And I told my wife on the way out of that show, I was like, I don't think that was a good decision to like have Panic come open for Weezer. Like they probably. I don't know what they were thinking there. Like, you had to know that this show was better than yours.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to know, at least after the first night, you
Yeah.
gotta be like, uh-oh, what we get ourselves into.
Right.
But Weezer, I mean, Weezer is going to be the bigger draw, or you know what I mean? It was like
Well,
their tour.
well, it was a
And
smart
then-
tour because parents such as us
Exactly.
were going to
Parents
spend
and
buy the
kids.
and
tickets
you
for the
leave
kids.
with the respect
Yeah.
that you didn't have before for Panic.
So since
it's-
then, we're Panic at the Disco fans,
Right.
and we saw him again at a stadium in indoors, and that was dude came hanging on wires, flipping around. It's like we're at the circus, we had a concert. Like it's really cool, you know. But Mick, I'll credit Mick Munchow from Ground Zero. He's been saying this for years. He's like, you know, if you're not the band that everyone's talking about after the show, then you need to work harder.
Yeah.
for sure.
That and ever since I heard those words coming out of his mouth, I'm like, that is like the gospel, especially in the local scene.
Yep.
Like you want to be the band everyone's talking about at the end of the show.
For sure. Yeah, and you know, like, you know, there a lot of the bands are always like, oh, we gotta, you know, support each other, and we're not a competition. And it's like, okay, yeah,
But you are
but
at the
we
same
are.
time.
Like,
Well, I mean,
if we're honest about it, or at least I am, I'm competitive, and I'm like, I want to know that at the end of the night, my band was the best, and if we weren't, then I want to keep playing with those bands again because they're great.
Well, that's a good
and
perspective.
I want to up my game.
Right.
Yeah,
to-
to want
you
to
know what I mean?
get
It's like-
better. That's a good thing. Yeah, I
It's a
don't.
healthy competitiveness.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Well, and if everybody on the list is trying their damnedest like that, then it's gonna be a fucking good
Then
show.
it's gonna
Right.
make a good show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun.
And
yeah.
that's how I always felt about like creating a band. I always felt like if I am the weakest link in my band will be great.
Right.
Like that's
Yeah,
I
it's
look
a
for
good
people
perspective. That's why we don't do like battle of the band. Like I've had a few people have asked, like, "Well, you going to do a battle of bands?" We're not. We're not going to do that because you're inviting a culture or like a
a popularity
sense. I didn't
contest
think about
is
it
what-
from that
you're inviting like this competitive thing, and I don't want to pit bands against each other.
Yeah.
I'm more of the collective mindset when it comes out. Like let's all put on a good show and lift each other up. You know, so we're never going to do a battle. We'll do showcases.
Right.
You know, like besides, what do I have to offer? Like what can I give a band? What's the grand prize? You know, like. But really,
Little plastic trophy.
yeah,
That would be great.
get a little rubber rooster or something.
Hey,
Rooster
we
award.
got all these 3D printers in the Misfit market now. We create a rooster trophy.
Spray paint it
But,
metallic.
it is good to have like a healthy competitive nature. But the point that I'm making is like you want to do better, and even with like open mic, right? Here's this is like a conundrum for me. Like I don't ever want to tell people what to do creatively. I do my best to stay away from people's creative process. Like when I book a band, I'm booking a band because I believe that you'll put on a good show. But a lot of times, like open micers will come and ask me how that was, and you know, I do my best of like towing that line of not being too critical, but try to offer something constructive, and that still like feels weird. But we had a band in here recently that had been here before. Song selection great, level of talent, musicians and the singer great. But the show, like they're new.
Stage presence.
The stage presence, like not there yet. So, like, what's the nicest way to say, like, I like you guys, I want to see you do better, but here's
Your
what
stage presence sucks.
Well, yeah. So
It's so hard to say.
Well, what I do is like move around more, like move around, get people into it, because what I told this particular band was like, your singer's amazing, but no one out here, like, she needs to sing in a way that we know that she knows she's amazing. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Like the timid kind of like humble thing. Like, you got to throw that shit in the trash when you get on stage. Like,
Right.
you got to walk on that stage like, I'm the fucking man.
It's like almost like that alter ego. You gotta let it
Yeah.
kick in.
It absolutely is too. Like if me on stage and me off stage
Two
are
different
very
people.
different.
Yeah.
On stage, I'm like, yep, this is where I belong.
Yeah.
Then off stage, I'm like, where's the corner? I'm gonna
Right.
go sit
Let me
quietly.
go
for a while.
introvert for a while.
Yeah, and it's, you know, so it's because I want these bands to make
Yeah.
money. I want to, I want to put on great shows. So when I see people come in and perform, and I try my best to just be constructive without some. But then then I'll say something, then I'll turn around and be like, who the fuck am I?
Should I have said
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Who the fuck am I? Like, I'm not a music critic, but at the end of the day, they're asking my opinion.
If they're
So if you're asking my opinion, I feel like I should be able to give an honest answer.
And at the end of the day, you're not really just selling music; you're selling an experience.
It's a whole show.
Correct.
Yeah,
It is
it's
a
visual,
show.
it's audible, it's you're selling
And
an
if
experience.
you're not necessarily visually appealing, but if you're not entertaining, let me get this
Visually
right.
Call
appealing
somebody
was the
ugly.
thing.
I did not
Ugly as
call
funny,
anybody
so-
ugly. I'm going to say visually entertaining. Let's put it that way. You can't just
Listen,
stand
look at
there
the Rolling
and
Stones.
just,
You don't have to be visually appealing.
You don't have to be. Well, first of
know.
all, but
I would
I'm
argue
glad,
in the
that.
60s.
I'm glad you said
You're
that
not
though,
wrong.
because
You're not
you
wrong.
don't have to go on stage and be Mick Jagger. You don't have to go on stage and be David Lee Roth.
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
have to high kick.
You don't have to cut
but
cartwheels
You
and
can
shit.
right. You can turn around and go next to your guitar player. You can lean forward. It's just that little bit
just
of
little things.
movement, not
Well,
just standing there.
It's confidence.
Yeah.
Like you need
You
to
got to
exude
have it.
confidence. Like
Yeah.
when you get up there. But I mean, there's certain types of music that lend themselves to different stage presence.
sure. If you're
like,
doing the
I don't want to get too in the weeds with
singer
it.
songwriter,
Yeah.
Well, look at the Beatles. The first couple years, they just stood there in their
Well,
suits.
they did the.
Yeah.
They did the little having
that was-
season.
That
They
was-
had to make their hair jiggle.
That was edgy for their
That
time.
was edgy,
That's-
yeah.
'cause you
Once they
couldn't
started
move.
moving those hips, boy,
Yeah.
You got in trouble.
Mom and Dad's shutting that shit down.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he wiggled his hips. You can't watch this. It's gyrating.
And you're pregnant.
Clutching their pearls. Oh, what is he doing? And Elvis just ruined the whole generation of parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy because now you got dudes giving lap dances to the devil,
It's-
and I see it and I'm like, oh, look at that.
Look what
I
you
don't-
did,
yeah.
Elvis.
Well,
Look what
that's
you
funny.
did.
It's like,
I really don't
Like-
care enough to make a big deal about
really
it. Just
in the 90s, I mean, like, that was nothing in the, like, I mean, you look at the stuff like Manson and Rob Zombie and all, like, the ones that were, like, edgier bands in
Manson
the
scared the
90s.
shit out of parents.
And-
yeah, Manson
Right.
did scare some people.
And now it's like, someone in the rap world is doing it. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden people are like, what? And it's like,
Well, that was right when that
Kinda
satanic scare
been-
thing was happening too, right?
the 90s
Yeah, the 90s,
Oh, yeah.
resurge of the,
The resurge
satanic
of the-
panic.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
did anybody ever have book burnings in church when they were kids? And like,
Dude, I never-
album burnings?
I was aware of them, but
Yeah,
heard
I was raised in a Pentecostal church. So like there were nights at twice. I remember 2 times I was drugged to like a bonfire.
What'd they
thing. It was albums and CDs,
Okay.
and tape,
Yep.
cassette
Oh,
tapes,
yep.
like devil music. And yeah, that's
You're
some
like, give
wild
me my
shit,
devil
man.
music. I'm gonna hide it.
It didn't work. Like it didn't fucking work.
And I love that's what Jesse says, and I think he said it when they were here. He's like, if it wasn't for sinning, I wouldn't know any of these guys on the couch.
Yeah.
You know, it's like sinning's
Yeah.
got me where I am today.
Yeah, I think people need to like just take it down a notch. Like, believe what you believe. Good for you, but like, how are you gonna tell somebody how to have a taste? Like it's like what we were talking about earlier. Like arguing that thrash metal is better than death metal. Like it's a stupid fucking thing to say. Like if you're not into this art, then go enjoy the thing you enjoy and
Right.
like let these burning someone's fucking albums. You're not. you're not helping anyone there. I mean, all you're doing is helping the artist make more money because I'm
Right.
going to go buy that album again.
That's what I never understood. They go and buy the albums to burn. I'm like, you realize how much money you just made?
Such a counterproductive thing to do.
Dumbasses.
They're doing that with Nikes. Well,
Yeah, Nike.
but
They've done
about a year and a half ago, they were-
anything that, like, it was the albums and CDs and
Books.
it was Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
but
God,
Lord of the
Harry
Rings
Potter.
is okay. Lord of the Rings is okay.
Yeah.
But,
Because it was grandfathered in.
well, it was,
why.
yeah, because
It was
Tolkien was a huge Christian, so.
But
he
then
was, yeah.
it's oh my gosh, it's the Nikes, it's Budweiser, it's really
Did you see Bud Light signed like a $100 million contract to sponsor UFC? Official beer of UFC.
yeah.
Like, boy, they are doing everything they can to roll that shit back.
I mean, who cares? I don't care.
I honestly, yeah, I do one of my old sayings. I just can't bring myself to give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
I just can't. Like,
Yeah.
there are so many more important things in life that need my attention. Like, I don't care if a tranny drinks Bud Light. I don't care if you listen to Satan music. I don't care if you listen to gospel music. I really don't. All I care about is that you come to see Aaron Lawrence when he plays here at the Rooster.
On Thursday.
I just love how you just roll right
This
into
Thursday.
You're so good at that.
Roughly 9 p.m. I promise my voice will be back to normal by then.
But no, it's a good time, man. Live music, it's what you're doing with like the with church, like the whole book burning thing and all that. You've got your little community of small-minded people that want to do their thing. We're trying to do the same thing, but with music. Like, not everyone's into baseball, not everyone's into basketball, not everyone's into church. But for those of you that are into the arts and into live music, that's what we're here for. If it's not your cup of tea, fine. But
Right.
we want you to come and experience this, because out of all those things I've experienced in life, nothing feels better than live music and live entertainment. Like, that's the place where I feel most at home. That's the place where I feel most accepted and cared for and loved and appreciated. And that's why I think I want to share that with the world. I'm just not going to be like religious about it and like shit on people that don't, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like being nice, doing this and being nice about it, I feel like that's the way to get there. Now, we'll find out. Time will tell. I don't know about you. You've played how many different venues? I would imagine that most venues have that kind of attitude, right? I mean, isn't that the goal we're trying to achieve here?
That's the live music is. I mean, that is where the heart and soul of it all is. And speaking of sharing and new experiences and everything, so Thursday, David Gillespie is a good friend of mine who I met probably 6 months ago. He's from Portland. He's an amazing singer-songwriter and is not broken to the scene yet. As you know, I invited him on, so he'll be opening at 9 p.m. and he is amazing. So
Now, has he been
he
coming
is
to?
new.
Is he going to open mics?
He's up in Kannapolis,
Okay.
up where I'm at. So he's done a couple up that way, and he's played some like breweries up around there. But yeah, he's completely new to the scene and is like doesn't know how to like break in. I'm like, oh, dude, like this, but he's so good.
Well, that's cool of you to bring him onto the show like that.
Yeah.
That's being a good sport, being a good artist, good member of the community. But tell him come down for an open
Oh,
mic
yeah,
from time to time. And I mean, he don't have to come here. There's open mics all over Charlotte, but we have the best.
We really do. Right, Bob?
What?
I said we really do, right?
We really
Bob?
do, yeah.
Right, Bob?
Call me out.
And that's-
Yeah,
that's-
Fred.
I was like, huh?
That's every Wednesday night, right?
Every Wednesday, every Wednesday. And I mean, literally, I'm pretty sure every night of the week, Monday through Friday, there is, or Monday through Thursday,
There's one somewhere.
There's one somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell them just jump in. But what's cool about open mic and why I love it so much is it is like a building block for the community, right? So I've had so many shows where I've been able to bring on an opener for an act.
love
I've
seeing
actually
that
got a
happen.
show coming up that's all open mic artists.
Yeah.
November 18th, Organic Soul will be here with Anna and Tim opening. They're all people that we met through open mic, and opportunities present themselves when you start to show up and be part of that community.
That
You
is
start
absolutely
support-
great. That's where I got my start. Was the Evening Muse one, probably 15 years ago now. That was where I played my first public performance. I think I was like 27 when I finally was like, all right, I'm gonna do something here.
That's when No Doubt was great.
And yeah, it was. It was.
It really was.
It's very different now.
Oh, I know.
But it was. Yeah, it was. And because of that, I met people.
Yeah.
And ended up becoming like different bands that well, like Eric Button, who still hosts it, he had dollar signs, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to open for us?" And that's where, that's where I first got my foot in the door.
Yeah, we're seeing. I mean,
This-
we're seeing a lot of new faces here lately with our open mic, and it's really cool. Like, I mean, if you're not an entertainer, like it's cool to just come and like. It's free entertainment, right?
Right.
And you never know what's going to go up there. Like, I'll meet people on the street and they'll tell me they're a musician. I'm like, oh, I'll come to the open mic. I have no idea what they're going to do.
Right.
And people surprise you all the time,
Like we had a saxophone on stage last
Yep.
week. It was awesome.
Yeah, dude playing sax with a guy who does kind of like pop hip hop.
Yeah.
Like, it was cool. It
It
was,
was
so
like,
cool.
I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, haven't seen this yet. Like,
And then he did a little saxophone solo on his own. And then they did another little hip hop thing.
yeah,
with the
it's
saxophone.
just
It's
a
really
great
neat.
it's a great, like I said, building block for the community, and I highly recommend like supporting the open mics. Like if if you're looking for something to do on a Wednesday night, come here, come hang out, man. You won't be
You're gonna
disappointed.
have fun.
Every now and then somebody gets up there that needs work, but you know what? That person had the courage to get up in front of people and like it's a litmus test. Where do I stand?
Well, and it falls back to what I was saying earlier about like the competitive thing.
Yeah.
If you are that person, you probably know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
unless you're just delusional, you probably know. Oh, these are things I need to work on
Yeah.
if I'm going to be at
Yeah.
the level of these other people.
And we've set Ariel and I and Bob we've watched people get better and better
And
every week.
that's what I was about to say. That's the most magical thing about it is watching people grow, and you're just like, you're over here like that community of cheerleaders. It's just like, yay, I'm so proud of them.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of them.
Rock on. Well, Aaron, tell people where to find you, what to look for, like what you kind of be a commercial for a minute.
Right. Oh, I'm so bad at this. So My Blue Hope, we have one full-length album that you can find it on all major streaming platforms except for Amazon, just because Amazon's a pain in the ass to get on with. But the album is called Farewell Constance. It is a blue sky with red and white balloons floating away. I've had a lot of people come to our shows, and then afterwards they're like, oh, where can we find you? And I'm like, oh, Spotify, My Blue Hope. And they pull it up and they look at the album cover and they're like, is that it? And I'm like, yeah, that's it. And they're like, it's not what I was expecting, because it's very bright colors. So yes, that is our album. No, we are not happy.
You want to talk a little bit about that album, like but the inspiration,
Okay, so most of my music. So
do you call it wrist cutting music?
God, really?
I've been there a time or two. So I suffer from borderline personality disorder, and it's I would say recovering, kind of like I don't know if you know anything about borderline. It's very stigmatized these days. Not a lot of great representation of it. Probably the most accurate that I've seen, sadly, is BoJack Horseman. Probably he's about the most borderline character I've seen. But it's in some ways, how like alcoholics will be recovering alcoholics. It's like you never stop being an alcoholic. You just choose to take the steps every day.
Yeah.
Borderline is kind of like that. It's like you go through the treatments for it, and it's kind of like it's every day you're having to be mindful and keep those steps. But the songwriting for me is it's a real nice outlet. And
Would you say that this album is autobiographical?
all my stuff is.
So you're not really
severely-
telling stories. This is more like therapy kind of.
Yeah. I mean,
this is
some
like
of
music
it'll-
to relate to, right?
I write everything for me and then hope other people get something from it. It's everything is, and that's why, like I think the people that gravitate towards my music the most are people that pay attention and feel it, because it is
Single episode. Every single episode we get a siren.
we're
Sorry.
no
Every single one we get that.
it's that time.
So you're saying that the feedback that you're getting from fans and people that listen are people that have in similar situations. They're feeling it because I mean
it's
right.
like hurt music for hurt people.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say was
sounds
like,
like a
it kind of
commercial.
goes deep. It kind of goes deep. It's just a coincidence that the name Blues and But Your Names, but it kind of like Blue October.
And I've not listened to them a lot, but that is a band that a lot of people.
Well, when I listened to your
compare us
music,
to.
that was kind of the comparison I was drawing. I was like, man, this guy's. It reminds me of
Right.
It's just because of the way you write music and the the lyrics
and
to your
it's
songs
because
and
it's
stuff.
it's like this is me, and there are songs where it's like it will be kind of a fictitious story. You know what I mean? Like the narrative is changed so that it's not so, on the nose, but it all is stemming from a real feeling, and there are several like that album. There's like one song by Inches I wrote the day after my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer, and that whole song was just it got me thinking about just mortality in general and what we leave behind, and then so a lot of the music won't necessarily sound real dark. Like there's like the song Stillborn is kind of a pop punk kind of like
Vibe.
upbeat thing, and then you listen to the lyrics and it's about suicidal ideation, and it's like lyrically that's where I'm like really bearing it, and then the music is like, hey guys,
So
we're
it's
on
like
stage
feel,
having fun. And then it's
like the music, the melodies are more upbeat, make you feel good, but the content is
Right.
I mean,
kinda
Hurt Music for Hurt
Everclear-ish.
People should have been the name of the album, right?
Yeah, actually, that is clever.
Hurt Music for Hurt People. That should have been the album name. Yeah, but no, it's again, just like with all the artists we talk to, there's people that will gravitate toward that, and sometimes there's whatever it is you're going through. Sometimes that kind of music can help deal with
And that's
whatever
exactly
it is that you're going
it's
through.
so Smashing Pumpkins are without a doubt my biggest influence, and that's obvious to anyone who's ever heard me. Like they're like, you sound like it. I'm like, yeah, I do. But I think the biggest reason that the Pumpkins were such influence on me was lyrically. When I heard Melancholy for the first time, that album was the first time I ever like heard songs that was like, I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
It was like the songs were, it was like bearing his soul, but in seeing that, it was like, well, shit, like
Yeah.
I relate to this, but I relate to it, which is kind of comforting because that means I'm not the first. And so now when I write, I kind of write in the way that like inspired me, in hopes that it may help other people.
Yeah, well, if it helps just one person,
Right.
Then you've done your job.
And then if it doesn't, hopefully more than one people just like the sound.
Because when you have, well, yeah, I mean, when you have the skill and the ability to write music and do that, it also gives you something productive to do with all of that negative emotion.
Right,
negative
yeah,
energy.
exactly.
So, we've talked a little bit before about that on the show about how therapeutic it can be, but Aaron, I really appreciate you, man. I appreciate what you do. I like the music you make. And I can't wait to hear it live here on Thursday at the Rooster for Aaron's Storyteller Session, and that'll be Thursday at 9 p.m.
Yep.
So thanks again for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for
We're going to
having
wrap
me.
it up. We're going to get out of here, and we got a show to do.
Yeah.
You want to do that? But yeah, come check us out Thursday night. Come check out Aaron and David Gillespie.
Yep.
Okay, I was pronouncing it Gillespie when I was.
I think it's Gillespie. I don't know. I'm
Gillespie.
pretty sure he'll answer to either.
Awesome. Look forward to that. Thanks again for doing this. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
Peace
of
and
course.
love.
Thank you.